Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. It was just as we were coming on the air last night here, we learned of the second mass shooting in less than a week in this country. Tonight here, the horror inside from the shoppers who witnessed it all, the ones who ran, who hid in storage closets, the children who were worried that their feet could still be seen beneath the coats that were hanging, afraid the coats weren't long enough to hide them. These are the stories now emerging tonight, and so are the stories of the loved ones lost. 10 people killed. Their ages range from 20 to 65. And the police officer, Eric Talley, a father of 7, he was killed. He was the first one there, running into the store and right into the line of fire. The first gunshots in the parking lot, the gunman then moving inside, people running for their lives, some out the doors to loading docks, some hiding behind bushes, a massive show of law enforcement on the scene, SWAT teams, the FBI. A tense standoff, then officers engaging the suspect. You can see taking him into custody, walking him out in handcuffs. He's now been identified tonight as 21-year-old Ahmad Alissa, born in Syria. He came to the U.S. at 3 years old. And tonight, what he was allegedly doing just days ago. Survivors escaping, some led to safety, now speaking out about the terror they witnessed inside. And the first images tonight of some of the victims. Their lives cut short. Officer Talley there on the left. Jody Waters, Ricky Olds, who worked at the store, Suzanne Fountain there. There are several more. President Biden coming before the cameras at the White House today, what he said about the victims and what he said about the families of police officers across this country who leave home not knowing if they'll come home. Flags at the White House just raised after honoring the victims of the mass shootings in Atlanta last week, ordered lower again today, this time for the victims in Boulder. The president then made an urgent plea to Congress today, and we do have it all covered for you tonight, beginning with the horror inside that supermarket. And ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, leading us off from the scene tonight.
Tonight, eyewitnesses describe how an ordinary trip to the supermarket turned into an afternoon of terror, one that left 10 dead and the city of Boulder reeling. Dean Schiller came to shop for groceries. Instead, he found this.
Someone's down right here. Something just happened here, guys. Look, there's people lying in the street, guys. He went in the store.
Right down there.
Oh, my God. Guys, we got people down inside King Soopers. Holy There's a shooter, active shooter. Get away.
Ryan Borowski came for soda and a bag of chips.
First shot, I thought it was an accident. I thought somebody dropped something. Second shot, that question was gone. Third shot, I knew it was gunfire.
Ryan tells me he saw a woman running towards him, a terrified look on her face. Then he started running too.
After I was running, I definitely heard more shots. Kind of like pop, 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 pop.
King Soopers was also a COVID vaccination site, and Steve McHugh's son-in-law, Paul, was there to get one.
Paul was in line to go get a COVID shot. Third person in line, and that's when at least one shooter came in and killed the woman at the front of the line in front of him.
We got people down on the ground.
Paul and his 2 young daughters sprinting for cover.
They ran upstairs to hide. They hid in a coat closet, standing up for 45 minutes. Extraordinarily terrifying. Of course, the little one saying, yeah, and the coats weren't long enough to hide our feet as they were standing behind the coats in the closet.
Sarah Moonshadow was there with her 21-year-old son.
I just started counting in between shots and listening to see what direction he was heading in. I looked at my son and I told him, we only have 3 seconds. We have to move now. If we don't, we're not going to have another opportunity.
Sarah didn't see the gunman, but store employees described him to police as relentless, methodically going through the store and parking lot where he shot an elderly man and then stood over him and shot him multiple additional times.
Once we got outside, I noticed that there were people laying in the street and they weren't moving, and instantly I started running for them. And my son grabbed me and said, no, we can't do anything. They're out in the open. And so we ran.
By then, police were on the way.
Looks like we have an active shooter. The white male, middle-aged, dark hair, beard, black vest, short-sleeved shirt.
The first responding officer, Talley, that had showed up, I was going to try to flag him down, and my son was too afraid to let me go.
You mean you think you saw him running?
No, I know I saw him. He was coming down the street and turning into the parking lot.
Officer Eric Talley, an 11-year veteran of the force and father of 7, was the first one there. He was shot in the head, and he died at the scene.
Officer down inside the building.
Eric Talley died heroically. He died charging into the line of fire to save people who were simply trying to live their lives and go food shopping.
His father said he was looking for a job to keep himself off of the front lines. He didn't want to put his family through something like this. His sister, Kirsten, tweeting this picture, saying, "I cannot explain how beautiful he was and what a devastating loss this is to so many. Fly high, my sweet brother." So many lives cut short, the victims ranging in age from 20 to 65. 25-year-old Ricky Olds was a manager at the supermarket. She'd been there 6 years, her uncle Robert calling her the light of the room. Jody Waters was 65. She had 2 daughters, a grandchild, and dreams of opening her own boutique. Denny Stong also worked at the grocery store. And there was Suzanne Fountain. Friends say she loved the theater.
Our hearts go out to all the victims killed during this senseless act of violence.
Police say the shooter is 21-year-old Ahmed Alissa, an American citizen who came here from Syria as a 3-year-old. They say he'd been wearing a green tactical vest and carrying an AR-15 style rifle and a semi-automatic handgun.
Now put your hands up, unarmed.
They say there was a gunfight. Alissa was shot in the leg, and then he surrendered. Police walking him out of the supermarket into an ambulance. The rampage finally over. Today, President Biden expressing anguish at another mass shooting on the heels of last week's shooting spree in Atlanta, which left 8 dead.
While the flag was still flying half-staff for the tragedy, another American city has been scarred by gun violence and the resulting trauma. And the state, I even hate to say it because we're saying it so often, my heart goes out.
The president paying tribute to Officer Talley.
Every time an officer walks out of his or her home and pins that badge on, the family member that they just said goodbye to wonders whether they'll subconsciously, will they get that call? The call that his wife got.
Tonight, Officer Talley's patrol car draped in flowers, a memorial to his sacrifice.
That image of the patrol car so moving tonight. And let's get right to Matt Gutman from Boulder. And Matt, police, of course, still searching for a motive.
And it's an intense search, David. Police and the FBI on the case. No word on motive yet. Now, the suspect did surrender to police, but he refused to speak with them. He did, however, ask to speak with his mother. Now, we've been watching investigators coming in and out of that supermarket. The police chief here says it'll take at least 5 days to process the scene. Prosecutors say it'll take at least a year to complete their investigation. Of course, the suspect faces 10 counts of first-degree murder. David.
All right, Matt Gutman leading us off tonight. Matt, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.